To gain a good understanding of what the Vannamei shrimp industry in Ecuador is today and where it is headed, it is necessary to dive into its rich and interesting history. From its relatively unsophisticated beginnings in the 1960s to the standing and recognition it has today, few can deny that the Vannamei shrimp industry in Ecuador has come a very long way. The Vannamei shrimp industry in Ecuador had its inception in the late 1960s when it was discovered, almost by accident, that mangrove land in the province of El Oro had excellent conditions for the breeding of shrimp. Soon, mangroves along the coastal parts of the country, including those close to Guayaquil, the country's business center, were being transformed into shrimp farms. Thus, money rolled in as investors were lured by the promise of bountiful profits. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, shrimp consumption around the world continued to grow, and Vannamei in particular took a strong foothold in the world consumer market as the shrimp of choice. Investors began to bet that even higher profits could be achieved via further investments in technology, infrastructure, and know-how. Besides private financing, the involvement of quasi-public entities such as the World Trade Organization, International Council for the Exploration of the Sea, World Organization for Animal Health, and Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations were catalysts for the rapid incursion of the intensive and semi-intensive methods of shrimp breeding. In contrast to the extensive method of shrimp breeding, the intensive and semi-intensive methods required more highly trained and educated personnel, involved more laboratory work, and increased the need for feed, aeration, and medication. As a result of the capital required to set up intensive shrimp farming operations, well-financed players with the ability to achieve full-scale integration emerged. Their operations included feed production companies, larvae laboratories, hatcheries, shrimp pools, processing plants, and manufacturers of byproducts such as fish meal. The 1990s began favorably as the industry flourished in a landscape of strong demand and higher production efficiencies. Few would have conceived that the industry would soon face a powerful foe in the form of the Torres Syndrome virus, a disease attributed to the irresponsible use of fungicides in adjacent banana plantations. First spotted in 1990, its onslaught was rapid and destructive. By 1991, its presence became widespread throughout Ecuadorian shrimp farms. It is estimated that the economic harm caused by the disease in the Americas was in the range of $2 billion, with a significant part of this impacting Ecuador. For Ecuador, the worst part of the Torres Syndrome onslaught lasted 3 years. By then, the virus had already made its way into the better part of the Americas and crossed over into Asia. The Torres Syndrome was destructive due to its ease of transmission and tenacity. It spread via shrimps themselves, but also via gulls and other aquatic species. Shrimp that survived the Torres Syndrome infection became lifelong carriers of the virus. Shrimp that did not survive still remained a means of transmission through cannibalism. To make matters worse, the virus could survive several freeze cycles. By the latter part of the 1990s, the country was once again experiencing a boom brought about largely by adjusting production techniques to counterbalance the risk of the Torres Syndrome virus and a thriving global economy. Despite the rapid increase of production in Asian countries such as Thailand, Vietnam, and China, world consumption continued to sustain healthy prices, and Vannamei shrimp furthered its foothold as a shrimp of choice. Ecuador continued to gain market share in its two most important markets, the US and the European Union. Ecuadorian shrimp's reputation for quality meant that some producers were able to charge a premium for their product.